Hello, everyone. This is Coach Julio, and I hope you are well. So, I'm excited to share a recent clip from a podcast interview I did on Military Mom Talk Radio with Sandra Beck. And in this podcast interview, I discussed my latest book slash project, SPARTA Seniors. It was a great interview. We talk everything about home exercises for older adults, the importance of movement, difference between chronological versus physiological age, fall prevention. It was a real talk interview. So without further ado, I'm going to play it for you, and in the background, I'm going to show you some clips. The link is in the description. Enjoy.
You do have the creds. Like, you do have the knowledge. You're just not some Joe that, took an online course, got a certification, and then showed up at the gym going, hi, I'm here to, twist you into a pretzel.
Oh, yeah. Well, thank you so much. And I'm still, so a couple of things. I'm a very practical person. So there, you can't buy experience. So despite the letters after my name, I have over 14 years in the industry.
Wow.
So that's experience that you can't buy. And throughout the experience, I've learned the best and most efficient way, first, to motivate people, to make them believe they can do more than what they physically think they can do, and then applying a science, that exercise science of movement that is conducive to how their body is structured. So everyone moves a little bit different. We all move, we only can move in anatomical directions, which is, frontal, sagittal, forward, backwards, push, press, those movements, all of us. However, the range of motion that we do can be limited, or it can be affected by if you have a precondition. So say if I'm an older adult, say if I'm 70, I may have more muscle atrophy in my legs than the average person because I'm using a cane.
Right.
So if I'm using a cane, it doesn't mean I cannot make your legs stronger like I can do for the 30-year-old guy. It means that I have to do it in a different manner, because the science always applies to all of us. And this is based on a project that I'm working on, is that our bodies will always adapt to any challenges that we have, or physical external stimuli we have. So for your father or an older adult, if I had that individual sit down and I say extend your knee and hold that for 5 seconds, and we'll repeat that 3 times, Sandra, which muscle you think he's going to feel?
His hip?
Well, his quad. So
his quad. Okay.
Yeah, so his hip may cramp up because he's probably not used to it.
Yep.
But with dosing and over a period, we're strengthening that muscle, the leg muscle, that helps his gait in a different way, in a safe way. And then we build upon that. And that builds the confidence that, wow, I can do more. See how it builds on top. So to circle back is that movement is the most important thing that I want to impress upon everybody. And the way we move is based on how you're structured.
Well, and the old person shuffle, like what I see, with my dad and his friends, they do like the old person shuffle, where they don't pick up their feet. They just kind of slide them along the floor, which is why they trip and fall a lot. And, my dad is like that too. I yell at him all the time. I'm originally from Buffalo. I'm like, hey, we're not ice skating in the living room. Pick up those feet,
Oh,
and
yes.
When you said everybody walks differently, what I can see with my own eyes as people age is they no longer pick up their feet when they walk.
Well, yes, so let me backpedal.
Sure.
We all, what you see is a progression of atrophy, like muscle atrophy. So if we don't, you may have, I'm old school. So one of the first places where I trained and as a personal trainer was the YMCA.
Okay.
That was my first introduction to an older population, and I also trained younger people too. And one of my first mentors, he's probably in his 90s now, he said to me, Julio, you got to use it or lose it.
Yep.
I didn't get that from a professor. I got that from him. He was a handball player, and he was absolutely right. And he was 70 at the time, and he was riding his bike.
Mm-hmm.
So to circle back, if we want to improve gait or walking, then the first thing we want to do is mimic movements and do exercises that strengthen that muscle group, if that makes sense. So the balance part. But the way we do it in increments. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I for older people versus, like my 16-year-old who's a gym rat, he's there 2.5 hours a day. He can do things quicker and see results quicker. But I think with my dad, what I've seen with his physical fitness is kind of slow and steady wins the race.
Mm-hmm. Oh, this is perfect. So now I'm gonna throw everybody here for a curveball. What I'm gonna say is gonna be like, it makes sense, but I probably never heard it like that. So the truth is, and this is the project that I'm working on, fear of falling is a huge influencer on how we move. Fear of re-injuring is a major influencer of me not going up the stairs. Doesn't matter what age or playing a sport if I had an injury.
Right.
So that's a big factor. So when we start to speak about that, and I'll say to an older, anyone, I say, do you actually have a fear of walking down the stairs or closing your eyes when you shower? And they say yes, then that's the big step.
Gotcha.
Where I'm going with this, once we can identify that it's not that they're physically incapable of doing the movement, is that they're afraid of re-injuring or falling. Then we take the steps to do that movement to build the trust that they can do it. And while we do that, any movement that we can do consistently will be conducive to brain activity.
Mm-hmm.
See where I'm going with this?
Yep.
So if I don't use my arms and legs and move them sideways, like a kid, if I move my arms to the side or in front, life is interesting because what we did as a kid, movement-wise, moving forward, backwards, we can still do as we get older. Even if we do it like in Tai Chi and martial arts, that's my background too. Making your brain active and doing that kind of stuff is a neuromuscular activation is what I'm getting at.
Okay.
So if I'm jumping around, I apologize. So the fear is a huge influencer. And then once we establish that there is fear, but they're not physically limited, then we can do stuff to progress from there.
Well, and I think you're spot on, because when I started working with my trainer out here in Los Angeles, he's probably in his 50s, really, really nice guy. And he was having me do things on the Bosu ball, which is like a little ball, like a half moon that you stand on. It's squishy. If you, are listening today and you don't know what that is, you're not going to lose anything by, looking it up. But, he would have me stand and he'd balance on these things. And I was so afraid of falling. And then, after 2 months of working on different things, he's like, Stan, he goes, you're a good athlete. He says, but whenever you get up high on one foot, you're falling. And if I have you turn around, and then, I remember, I fell off our house when I was a kid. I went up a ladder on the roof, and then I went to go down the roof. I missed the rung, and I was fine. I ended up in our Christmas light bushes. They broke my fall, and I was really good, Julio, at falling off things. I fall off our break wall. I fell out of our boat. I mean, I fell off a horse, like you name it, I fell off it. And I think as, a mom and as a fully grown adult, I have this fear of falling on certain things. Now I can run down a mountain, jump off ledges like a mountain goat. But if you put me on some object, like a ladder or something artificial, I'm going to be like, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. And I think, it starts with our brain first and then trickles down the reaction to our bodies.
Well, yeah. And then so now I'm going to put my nerd hat on. So we can quantify fear.
Okay.
The same way, so there's different extremes. So like, I have a fear of height. So the higher I go,